Like I say, I think Kuliah is about the future of education. So the Kuliah must have the capacity, the ability, the willingness to see what the future looks like, to redefine it, to reshape it, and to give it meaning for the future. So that is the role of the Kuliah. So FPK probably is a starting point because it has been there for the last 30 years. Nobody look at it. Certainly, I think it may need some refining, retuning because things has changed, particularly post-COVID. All these things are within the ambit of the Kuliah to lead the way. That will be, I think, the call for Kuliah of education because the only Kuliah of education, and everybody then will look at the Kuliah for guidance, for the move forward and work together. That's happened. I think Alhamdulillah we have got our future made in that sense.
I think maybe two of the things that he mentioned. One is on the FPK when he said that take it back. So actually, we've never lost it, or we've never given out the FPK. We still want to champion it. We are championing it, but we would like to bring it forward. We want to bring it forward rather than just training of the teachers. But we would like to see how to implement the curriculum and the school and education in general. And we are going to work closely with our own school from kindergarten all the way up to secondary school to see changes along the line of the SDG and Sejahtera, insyaAllah.
I'm quite overwhelmed, but with all the visions and the mission. But like he said, or like probably what the dean has said, we have to sit together. We cannot do it on our own. No individual is an island. No man is an island. So for this mission, we have to work not only one Kuliah. We like what he said. We cannot work in silo. We have to interact with each other. What the other is doing, we have to know, and vice versa. And for the Kuliah of education, especially because Tan Sri has put a lot of responsibility on Kuliah of education to spearhead part of the mission. So I think, insyaAllah, we can do it.
These two in heart dengan IBF ni, dia macam kalau football game ni dia ada strikers lah, because they specialise. They have got people in that area working for them. I think their target is more specific as compared to the Kuliah, which is rather broad-based. So if they can work together, they can also train people from the Kuliah to take over and to expand whatever they need to do moving forward. So I think the strategy of working together is very important, and all of them I think has got a reason why to exist, otherwise they will not exist, and that reason I think needs to be maintained. So halal is important, but not only halal, now we move to Tayyiban and we talk about something else because the area is expanding and we need to take them into on board. Macam IBF tadi juga betul lah. We talk about microcredit is important, but not only to a certain section of the population. Why do you expand to the other population? So those are the things that I think that is important for us to move forward, so that the strategy becomes more comprehensive, and I think it's more impactful moving forward, insyaAllah.
Basically, that particular matrix, it is a flagship project. It is a one-year project. So we have produced version 1. Originally, it's called Sharia Compliant and Productive Work Culture. But when we made the presentation to Tan Sri Rector, he suggested a slightly modified name to the completed project. So the name that was given or proposed by the Rector is called Sharia Compliant Matrix for Humanizing Productivity. So what this particular appraisal matrix is evaluating 8 categories for Islamic higher education institution, including IIUM. We embark on this project because we want to see how and where Islamic university like IIUM stands. We are not referring to any benchmarking, We are not using ranking system. We just want to know where we are, and when we know where we are, we can improve to the next better level.
At the Institute, we are bidding for the HICO, which we have just submitted last week. The focus area, or they call it the niche area, that we aim for is Islamic Social Finance, or we put it ISOFI in short. So what happened is that we want to look into the role of Islamic Social Finance in financing various social activities. What are the social activities? For example, in the health sector, in the education sector, as well as in, say, the women empowerment. So I mentioned just now during the road tour with Rector regarding the need for Sharia compliant financing to give fund to for women empowerment, women micro entrepreneurs and all.
The difference is how we see the language. Yeah? Some people look at language if purely from the economic point of view, whereas language is more than that. Language makes a person, and therefore we need to internalize it, practice it, understand it, and there's a whole new spectrum that we need to learn. So if you think just language is about getting a job, then you are going to narrow the idea of a language and makes knowledge a very boring subject because it has no context. So in other parts of the world, they're using this as a platform to introduce their culture, their values to other people around them, and therefore they take language into a different dimension. I think we need to do that because as the world get globalized and people want to know your culture, then I think you must bring this bigger picture into the discussion, inshallah.
Number one, for our curriculum, yeah. Okay, for the benefit of our own students in understanding mental health issues, yeah. So I could already see us including topics, yeah, that include issues on mental health, yeah. And when we include issues, therefore the language that we use will also cover. You know, we also the language that the meaning we approach the issue and the vehicle is English. Yeah, so it's, we go by topic. So I'm already thinking about including that topic. And true enough, now we are. If you look at our topics in our curriculum, yeah, it is usually about health, general health, yeah, about environment. But mental health is new, so that is one way for us to incorporate. Yeah, another way is, for example, when you talk about counselling, yeah, this is an opportunity for collaboration. Yeah, for collaboration, we have the language, but we do not have the content expertise. Yeah, we don't have our counselling. We don't have people who have qualification in counselling and so on. So I could see a collaboration between CELPAT and also human science. Yeah, and so on. Inshallah.